What is up? What is up, everybody? We are here again with another couples therapy. I am this coming up weekend. I will be going to see the brand spanking new, hot off the presses, Alien Romulus, and it's got super great reviews coming down. So, like, super excited about going to see it. So we decided, why not kind of kill two birds with one stone, refresh myself with the first movie, because this one coming out, if I'm not mistaken, is between the first and second movie timeline. Brandi.
Yes. Hi, baby.
let's start talking about them aliens. All right. So
Aliens, it was one.
but before we start breaking down some of the stuff, like, what did you think, like, overall general terms?
It was okay. It was obviously from a while ago, so it's definitely a little dated. But it was okay. I definitely jumped a few times because I've seen Alien before. I just couldn't remember everything because my dad liked a lot. He liked movies like this. So I've watched a lot of the movies. I just can't remember them because it was so long ago. But
oh yeah, like, but this is 1979. That's when this movie was made, and I'm gonna be
when I
honest
was
with you.
made, that's when I was made.
But, like, being honest, like, it is amazing to see what they could do. Because yes, you can watch this movie and tell but yeah, it's a little dated, right? Like, you could tell it's like older, the little bit of grain in the film, which I don't mind actually. Sometimes I like it when some of the new movies try to do that because it, like, makes it almost feel more real or authentic. And in some cases, but yeah, this movie, 1979, but like the ships and the stuff they did and they used, uh, was actually and just the alien itself is just, like, amazing what they were able to accomplish back then when we couldn't just go to a computer
Oh
and have
yeah,
a computer make it.
have it generated. Yeah, it was, and I'm sure they had those models, and you film it from far away, and you just like. I know a little bit of movie trickery.
Now, I mean, this came out a little bit after Star Wars, so, like, they probably did copy a little bit of things that Star Wars did, which was, like, make these models like you're talking about, and then they would film them and then, like, put them and pose them basically in the movie and stuff. Made it look like a lot more realistic than what it did back in those days. I mean, you're talking about, like, yeah, this is before, like, even the first home computer, I think, was it even allowed to be at home yet. Like, I knew computers were invented, but they were, like, at the very early stage. Like, and if you had a computer at your house during this time,
You were rich.
yeah, slap. You're like, you were ugly rich. Like, I don't even know with inflation if, like, my man Elon Musk couldn't afford a computer back then, even with the money he's got now, because, like, that's it's got to be crazy stupid. Like, computers started off being in, like, big rooms. It wasn't even like a thing that you would sit on a desk. It was like a room was the computer to do, like, certain calculations and stuff like that. But no, I thought it was like a kind of contained film because they put you into a thing. Like, this is what I don't understand, like, especially nowadays when it comes to films, is they try to, like, make these big fancy things and all that, but, like, really and truthfully, this movie was based in the future. But guess what they did? They didn't show you things that you would be like, oh, I don't know if that's futuristic or not. So like, yeah, it's outdated a little bit because of the way it looks. It doesn't affect me as much. Like I said, I like the way it is, but, like,
It's fine. It's fine.
but the thing I will say is because of the way they done the movie, when you watch it, you're not like, oh, how wrong were they when they're talking about the future? Because really, you just see the ships. It's one ship docking on another ship because there was a problem. Then there's an issue there, and then they're getting away, and then come to find out, we got old stomach man, got old stomach worm. But yeah, but no, like, I really like it because of that, because, like, you're not really thinking about, like, oh man, they got this wrong. It's like, nah, dog, they good, they all right, because they're just on those ships and stuff, and it's in a contained area, and all this other stuff starts to be too big, and then the budgets just balloon up out of the thing. You can make a very good movie, like, being in a small area with good cinematography, with a good director, with good writing and stuff. And I think a lot of movies, not all movies, there's been some, like, bangers that's actually came out recently and stuff, even earlier in the year, but that had good writing and good storytelling in it. What'd you think?
There's just some scenes that I was just like, ooh, that
Well, that's the whole point.
I just remember, and I said this to Justin because I was asking questions always. I was like, "Is this the movie where it comes out of the thing comes out of his stomach?" He's like, "Girl, just watch it." I'm like, "It is," and he's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, I was like, I remember saying, I don't know. It's some things are gross to me.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what the movie is supposed to do.
I
If you
know,
go see this
I
movie,
know. That's
right,
not just That's Brandy's non-preference. So, like,
right, but that's what the movie's supposed to do. To everybody that watches it, is it's supposed to like make your head turn a little bit, or maybe close your eyes, or whatever. Like it never did to me. I like that kind of stuff, but yeah, anybody that doesn't really like that kind of stuff, I could see them having issues with it and
then
stuff.
the
Like
stuff the
I
dude,
love seeing the little baby alien coming out of that stomach, man. Like every time, because like I said, it's so fascinating to me how they were able to do things like that. Like in 1979, like that's before I was born. You know what I mean?
it
So
was a little thing on the stick, and they.
yeah, it's like but no, like I said, it's just, man, it's a simple story. It's not like over the top or anything like that. And
No,
it's just,
and I wanted a little more action, but I was like,
we ought to
it was
watch
a.
Aliens. We ought to watch Aliens after this. You know what I'm saying? Because
Oh.
action, that's what they actually do. Like it's the same kind of movie, but they actually do. It's like
This one
way
was just.
more action.
It was so. Yeah, they had a story of little, but I was like, this guy's an idiot. Why is he letting this thing on the ship? Like when she was saying no, not to do it, and he was like, "No, we're bringing it on," and then he put everybody in jeopardy. And then that thing came out of him, of the other dude, and then he was trying to stop them, and then it turns out he was a friggin' robot. He was a robot.
Yep, you got the robot, which was like a twist that, like, you know, watching it the first time, nobody would have ever guessed until his head gets knocked off and there's wires everywhere and everything else, which I think the movie did just fabulous. Like I thought that was actually really good setup. They don't give you any kind of hints. Like he doesn't, like some movies, I think they try to foreshadow, like maybe there would have been a scene where Ripley's talking to him and he kind of like almost like has like a little bit of a 1 second little seizure or something where he kind of stops and then starts back. And then it's like, oh, you know, oh, see, that's when they were kind of showing you he was a robot. I love the fact they didn't do any of that, you know, that you didn't know until like his head, like I said, his head gets knocked off.
I was like, what is that? What is that guy doing? I'm like, you should leave him outside of the ship. I told Justin, I was like, he needs to be outside.
Well, the thing with that is too, is like, well, but you got to remember in like
he's
the movie,
doing it for science. So he says,
yeah. But now in the movie though, I don't think he was wanting to actually open the door. I know Ripley didn't want to open the door, but then I think the guy who's in charge, that was in charge of the ship, like that admiral, whatever you want to call him, like was the one was like, open the door, like all this stuff. That's an order and everything else. And Ripley wasn't wanting to open the door. And then I think Home Dude Ash, if I'm not mistaken, that's his name in the movie. Like I think eventually does like open the door, but that's because he was like being ordered. But at that time, well,
she was ordering him not to.
Oh yeah, she was like, "No, don't open the door," and she was right. She was doing the right thing. They're supposed to be contained, so like, and that would have been like the best thing for it. But obviously, people's like, "Hell no, we want to get the hell out of here!" Like,
yeah,
I'd have left Home Dude with the face hugger on his face, like wherever the hell that was. And left.
Yeah, he would have been sorry, buddy. You're out there. This was so. After that, this ended up being like a game of hide and seek with the alien. And then if the alien found you, you were dead, basically. Like, hide and seek, you're dead.
Yep. It does turn into that, which I think is like pretty creepy. You got to think about it. Like, even if you especially if you watch this thing when you're young, you know, and you were a person that played some hide and go seek, and then all of a sudden you're watching a movie that is basically hide and go seek, but with an alien coming after that ass. You know what I'm saying? That could be pretty damn creepy. And stuff. I love the fact that like they don't have a lot of weapons in this particular one. Now in the second one, they do have weapons because they know, oh shit, like on Ripley's second adventure, she obviously knows like these things can do some stuff. So they send some space marines over to take care of things in the second movie. But like in this movie, they gave reasons, right? Like this is my thing. When you watch something and things happen for no reason, that just bugs the crap out of me. And I'm not even going to say the name of it. You know what I'm talking about, Brandi, but I'm tired of like talking about it. But like we just watched the show where a bunch of stuff happened. There was no explanation. There was no reason for it. It just happens. You don't learn anything about what's going on. This movie, at least, like, you're right. Technically, they do like a stupid thing, right? They let the thing up there. They don't understand it, but there's reasons for it, right? You can see like where
Because they had to die.
well, the robot, no, well, technically, but like you had the robot character Ash, and then you had like the admiral of the ship. Like, you got to think about it. There's this new thing they just discovered that could be lots of money, and the film did a good job, especially the two cargo guys, right? The guys who was like down there doing all the work. The first like few minutes of the movie, you know, they're complaining about them not getting enough money. They need to get their cut. So it's the movie does a really subtle way of saying, okay, so these guys wanting more money and stuff. And obviously, if you just discover this new species, and they don't know how dangerous truly it is yet. They know it's some danger. It scared them a little bit, but they don't know exactly what's going on. They think maybe we can like cut this thing off this guy's face and like, you know, that's it.
And then then the acid came out, right? They tried to get it off.
Yeah, when they were cutting the thing off the face, the acid, the famous acid from the aliens, which makes them almost indestructible. You almost can't. You got to be super careful when you do kill them, because if their acid gets on you, it just eats through you. But like, and that makes them like just freaking horrific, even more horrific, because not only do they have like a exoskeleton style shell that's kind of hard to break through, but if you break through that, you get like the acid. Oh yeah, it grows super fast. Yeah.
So they're like nobody go off by themselves, and then there are three of them, and then they're getting scared, and then like catch it, and it's the cat, and there's like, oh, I'll go get the cat by myself. Like, you're going to get your cat by yourself, you're dying. You going off to get the cat, you dying. And then we see that the thing like grew. He picked up the skin of it.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it was like this big ass thing, and I was like, "What the fuck? That grew too
like it grows super fast. It's got acid. It's got multiple ways to kill you. The tail, everything.
It was hiding. It was like hiding in the shadows, like I said, hide and seek, because that's what he did.
But yeah, I just think
see where it was at. It was dark. It was dark in the ship. He was dark, like the dark. It was almost like the same color of the ship's interior. Some areas.
Yeah, but like I said, I like the setup. I like the setup of the movie. How, yeah, they make a dumb decision, but there's a reason for it. You may not like the reason or think the reason's stupid. Like personally, like if you're on that ship, you're probably going to be one of the ones like, don't bring that shit on here, keep it out. Like, but there are people out there thinking about that big money, and like I said, you don't know how they didn't understand how dangerous it was. So, like I said, the film does an okay job of saying like, hey, okay. Kind of a stupid move, obviously, because we know what's about to happen. But like the characters in the thing, they don't know everything. So at least they give us that. So I give them a lot of props for that. Because like when this movie, unlike some horror films, when this movie does something or the characters do something, like usually there's a reason for it. And so I really truthfully appreciate that about this movie in particular. I think this is one of the greatest written like female badasses in the history of film. Some people would say like Sarah Connor from the Terminator series. But I think Ripley is one of the like quintessential, great, well-written, good story to be told, like just character that's a badass, but like it's still
she's
like
a badass,
I look at
but I didn't see too many badassery moments from her in this one.
Now she does more in the second movie. She actually does take part because now, and it makes sense.
I don't remember
the first movie,
I don't remember the second one. So
that's why I love these two movies, especially together. I almost like watching these, like if I have enough time, watching them back to back, because there's this great character progression that goes into the second film from even the first film. Because it's like while we were watching it, I was talking about how like, man, it's just refreshing to see this female badass being written like a female badass and not somebody just being like, oh, we wrote a character, we're going to make them female in the movie, but they're basically written just like you would wrote like a man character. And I just don't care for that much, because I like to see like badass, like actual women, because like she's in this story. she's not like whatever you want to say, like she's not just going around doing everything. She gets scared multiple times. She runs away at times, but like she's doing the things she's got to do. She stands up for herself at multiple times. There's a part of the ship whenever the captain does finally get killed, Admiral, whatever he's called, he gets killed, and she has to step up, and she tells everybody to shut the hell up, right? It's like a kind of almost like a Princess Leia moment of like being a badass, like still being a woman. She's stepping up when she needs to. She's doing the things she needs to, but she still has like this like nurturing, like she doesn't want nobody. Like a man character would be like, I don't give a shit that dude died. But like she, you know, she cares that her partners are dying. She's like still has that like feminine part about her, which is super great to me, because sometimes, not every movie, there's movies out there that still do it good, but there's a lot of movies where it's just like, bam, they're just a badass going around killing folks and stuff with like no cares in the world. There's just a little bit of different mentalities when it comes to that. But like in the second movie, because she went through what she went through in this movie, she's an actual badass. She's like, she'll grab a gun in a second. She's ready to like kick these aliens' ass. She's not scared anymore. But it makes sense. She had to survive them before. She survived them in this movie. Like even at the very end of this film, when she's in the ship, she thinks she gets away. She puts the cat in the little sleep chamber thing. She's getting ready to take off and leave. And then obviously the alien's still in there. And she's like, she takes care of the situation. She does it. But it's not like she's not grabbing a weapon or something like that and beating the alien's ass. Like she does it intelligently. She turns on a thing that starts like messing with it. And then it's like, oh, like, you know, the alien's like doing its little squeals and stuff and kind of falls down. And then she's smart enough to release it. She gets in the suit, which we talked about, that like holds them in place. She doesn't like get flown out of the thing, but she opens up the chute on the ship, and then the alien gets blown out. She shoots that thing with a harpoon, boom, and then she turns on the engines because he's like stuck there. So, but yeah, man, that whole sequence was like super awesome, and it was done well, and it was done in an intelligent way, and everything else in that movie is just so super good. I love the ending, and I just love Ripley as a character. She's one of my favorite characters of all time. And I think Brandi just froze up, so I'm going to keep going while she's doing that and talking about the stuff that I like in the film. Well, looks like you're back, unfroze. But yes, no, it's all good. But yeah,
my Wi-Fi messed up.
But did you hear what I said about the ending scene there?
A little bit of it. I didn't hear all of it.
Okay, but basically, I'm just saying the ending scene even makes sense. Like she's not just being a badass; she's being intelligent. She comes up with a way to get rid of the alien that's a smart one. She turns on the thing. She then opens up the hat. She put on the suit like we talked about with the boots and stuff and everything. And then she, so she stays in there. She doesn't have to worry about being sucked out herself. The alien gets sucked out. It's still hanging on though. She shoots that thing with a harpoon, and then it's like hanging on to the engine bay, and she turns on the engines. Like straight up, super cool. She's a badass. She did what needed to be done, but it wasn't like unbelievable. Like I can believe if a person thought about her game plan like she did, like that they could fulfill it. You know, you don't have to be like a superhero to do what she did. Like, and she was still scared the whole time. She's like talking about like starlight. She's like talking to herself, trying to calm her down, which is another cool piece of a moment where like a lot of movies don't do it these days. It's like make the character feel a little uncomfortable. They're obviously in this horrific situation. Like, don't try to just act like, oh, now. But like I said, in the second movie, she's like, I don't give a shit. She's going after the aliens. Like, she hunts them down at certain parts of that movie and everything else. So
yeah, I remember bits and pieces of things. So I'm sure once we watch it, because I know you're gonna make me watch it with you. I'm gonna see, and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I do remember that part. Because I did remember some of the stuff in this, but I didn't remember everything. Because I didn't remember that guy was a robot, because I was like, that guy needs to get off the thing himself. He wants to keep that in there. You go and do it yourself. Like she said, you were jeopardizing the whole crew in that moment.
Yep. But I also love the fact that this movie had, like you said, like it had a dark tone to it, obviously. It's got like the way the ships are compromised are not like super well lit and everything, which makes it even more creepy, which is a cool thing to do. I love it. Like the very beginning of the film, a real slow pan of a ship that's kind of empty. So, but then you get this like, so if you're a person that may have claustrophobia, like you're still kind of getting that because it's still, even though it's a big ship, it's like tight spaces everywhere. All that. I love the fact they use like grating for the flooring. So that when people do walk, like it's not going to be easy to super sneak around there. Like you got to be careful with your weight and stuff, because like you'll be like playing, making that sound every time you stepped. Like that makes it cool. But like it helps with like the sound design. The sound design on this thing is awesome. The music and what they did was good, where they put it and used it. Just all of that. And this film doesn't have like this big, like it's got like these light sounds, like some noise and stuff in the background, but a lot of it's like ship noise, and it's pretty quiet. But that makes this film even better. You don't have to have a bunch of dramatic music every 5 seconds. There's a lot of like just background noise like that you would normally hear on a ship and stuff. And I thought that was like super awesome to do, and a super good way to do it.
You can hear the drips off the alien and stuff. It was gross, but important.
So Brandi, we're gonna be closing this out. So I want to know your favorite and least favorite moment of the movie.
Oh, my least favorite moment was the alien coming out of his stomach, because that was gross.
Okay. Well, what's your favorite
moment? When she kicked his ass out of the ship.
Obvious. Like man, on this film, like I grade this film like super high. Like I guess
I'm at a 6.5.
My least favorite moment was one of the things that you kind of brought up too, was the one guy, like one of the crew members, like he's one of the first, actually he is the first person I think that, well, besides the guy that has the thing come out of his stomach, the next guy that dies, just kind of going off trying to get that cat on his own. Like after you've already seen this freaking thing bust out of his stomach, I don't know if anybody goes, so I'll nitpick and say, you know what, I know why they did it, but that guy going after the cat on his own, that was my least favorite. That was probably the most, it didn't make a huge amount of sense like during that part of the movie. Then my favorite part is, I would say, like, it has to be the stomach part. So your least favorite is my favorite, because like I said, it's just like so cool how they're able to do that and everything back in 1979. They couldn't just use a computer to try to do it. It's like it makes it more real looking to me, and everything else. But yeah, with that being said, Brandi, what you gonna give this as a score?
6.5. That's my
6.5. I would say, hey, I'd say 6.5 is pretty high for you because you don't love horror movies. So like it's already kind of like going to be like not it's never going to be an 8 or 9 for you when it comes to a horror movie. I believe most of them's going to be below that. This movie is a solid 8.5 for me. Like there's just not, when I watch a movie, even if it's a movie that my particular genre that I don't like, and I know it is harder for people, like, so I do love, and a couple of my favorite movies out there that I have pretty high on list is like romantic comedies. I like a couple of those, or like a couple of them are up there pretty high on my list, like I said. But I grade things, even if I don't like the kind of story as much, like on how good the film and everything makes sense a lot of times. And then if it's a genre that I like, obviously it gets even higher scores. This one, like I said, they made things make sense. It felt real. There, except for that one guy we just talked about, there wasn't any dumb things that happened, whatever, throughout the movie. So I just think set design, what they did sound wise, and sound design and direction and like cinematography in this thing, because like they made it seem really cool, even though it wasn't like they're not in this big grand open space that you can do a lot with. So I love what they did with that. So yeah, it's a solid 8.5 for me. I mean, shoot, be honest with you, I could almost squeeze it up to a 9 because there's really not a lot of things that I would change in this movie. I will say it doesn't get that 9 to 10 because, and I don't think it needed a lot more, but I do agree with you, Brandi, a little bit. The first Alien movie, although super good, and it started the franchise. And like the second movie, I think is even better. Most people will say Aliens is better than Alien, just because of the fact they threw in a little. It's a lot more action in Aliens, but in this movie, I think a little more action. And I do think they were hampered on what they can do with the alien costume and stuff like that. So, like, that's probably why it's not as crazy, not a lot of chase scenes and that kind of thing. Like you said, it was more of like the hide and seek. Like, I'm gonna hide over here in this corner, and this idiot's gonna come over here to try to get this cat. I'm gonna eat that son of a gun. But that's basically what happened, man. But I love this movie. You know, if you're watching the review, come to the end. Please, like, tell us what you thought about this movie when you first watched it, even if it was like when you were a kid. I watched this thing when I back when I was like a lot younger, 7, 8 years old, watching this movie for the first time, and I loved every minute of it then. But yeah, good stuff, and subscribe to the channel, and then we'll be back. Sorry, this one took a little bit longer. I had family issues and stuff that kind of ran into us jumping on another one, but we'll try to put out a couple of them a little bit faster than what we were, so that we can get like caught up a little bit and get on like a more regular schedule. But until next time, peace.